You've likely passed by that cedar tree in your yard 100 times, watered the flowers nearby, brushed fallen needles off the porch, maybe even leaned against its trunk while sipping morning coffee. But you've never paused to wonder if that tree is quietly holding something more than just shade. Today, I want to invite you into a ritual so subtle, so grounded in nature, it might just shift the way energy flows through your home and life. No, this isn't about superstition. And it's not about wishful thinking either. It's about energy, the kind you can feel when a room suddenly feels lighter after opening a window, or when a moment of silence brings clarity where there was noise. Some trees, especially cedars, hold an ancient ability to stabilize and carry energy. And when you place the right object at the right time beneath that tree, something begins to shift. Quietly, but deeply. I'm not going to promise you instant wealth or overnight change. That's not what this is about. But I will tell you this: many women I've worked with, women who've spent their lives giving, carrying, building for others, have told me they never realized how drained they were until the moment they created a small space for energy to breathe again. And that space began with a single gesture, placing one object beneath a cedar tree, with intention. This isn't a performance, it's a conversation, not loud, not public, but deeply personal. And if you've been feeling stuck, tired of trying so hard only to feel like something's still missing, this might be your turning point. Because sometimes, the shift doesn't come from doing more. It comes from standing still and finally letting the earth hear you. Part 1. The cedar tree is not decoration. It's a living energy pillar. You might think it's just a tree, tall, steady, standing in the corner of your yard, like it always has. But the cedar is not decoration. It's not just there for curb appeal or a little extra shade in summer. It's something far older, deeper, and more quietly powerful than we usually give it credit for. And if you've lived long enough, if you've weathered seasons of holding everything together, of being the anchor in your family, the listener, the giver, then you know the value of quiet strength. That's exactly what the cedar embodies. It doesn't bloom with bright flowers or demand attention with showy colors. It grows slowly, roots deeply, and holds steady even when storms come. And that, right there, is why the cedar is more than just a tree. It's a living pillar of energy, a place where sky and soil meet, a kind of silent witness to the energy you live in, and maybe the energy you've been losing without even realizing it. There's something else about the cedar you can't quite put your finger on until you've spent time near it. Unlike other trees that shed and scatter, the cedar stays green through winter. It doesn't follow the noise of seasonal change. It holds its energy. And when your life starts to feel like everything's moving too fast, too loud, and you can't seem to keep up, standing near that tree or just sitting beside it for a few moments can feel like pressing pause, like remembering how to breathe, like coming back to something that doesn't ask anything of you, only that you be present. I've seen women do that for decades. Show up for everyone else. Stay strong through change. Adapt to everything, without ever really stopping to ask, is there anywhere in my life where something is holding me up too? The cedar is that kind of presence. It holds you without words. It listens without fixing. And most people never notice that it's doing any of that. But here's the deeper truth. The cedar isn't just a metaphor for strength. It literally influences the energy around it. Not in a mystical or exaggerated way, but in the way that certain spaces feel safe. The moment you step into them, you felt it before. That feeling when a room feels lighter, calmer, more grounded. That's energy, and the cedar is one of nature's most reliable conductors of it. Its upright trunk, like a spine, connects the energy above with what's below. Its roots spread slowly but thoroughly, like patience woven into the soil. And the space around it, especially near its base, becomes what some ancient traditions called the axis of stillness. Not still as in stagnant, but still as in calm, focused, balanced. Energy gathers there, not loudly, not quickly, but in a way that lasts. Now think about your own life. How many things have you tried to fix? Finances, relationships, restlessness, by doing more. By adding another routine, another self-help book, another podcast, another plan. And how often did those things help you feel genuinely steady, not excited, not temporarily inspired, but truly steady? That's what the cedar offers in its own language. Not rush, not solutions, but grounding, a return to something older than overwhelm. This is why, in certain practices, the cedar isn't just admired. It's used. It's invited to participate in rituals of renewal, stability, and gentle abundance. Not for what it looks like, but for what it holds. When you place something at the base of a cedar tree, something meaningful, intentional, you're not adding decor to your yard. You're starting a conversation. You're saying, in a quiet way, I'm ready to root myself again. I'm ready to stabilize the part of me that's been drifting. And that act, as simple as it seems, does something that no planner, podcast, or productivity system can. It grounds your energy. And grounded energy flows very differently than anxious energy. It doesn't leak. It doesn't scatter. It builds, slowly but surely, like the cedar. One woman I knew had a small cedar tree on her back patio. Not much space, just enough to see it from her kitchen window. After a particularly hard year, losing her job, her confidence, and her direction, she began sitting beside that tree every morning. No journaling, no vision board. Just her, the tree, and a small coin she'd tucked into the soil beneath its roots. She wasn't expecting miracles. She just needed to feel steady again. 3 weeks later, something shifted, not loudly, but undeniably. A job offer came in, not big, not flashy, but right. Her sleep improved. She began humming while she cooked again. When she told me, she didn't use words like magic or manifesting. She just said, "It feels like something stopped spinning inside me." That's what I'm talking about. The cedar doesn't solve your problems. It doesn't bring sudden wealth or erase grief. But it does remind you what steadiness feels like, and gives your energy a place to land, gather, and begin again. It's there, quiet, alive, and waiting. And if you've been feeling like you've tried everything else and still feel unsettled, maybe it's time to stop doing and start rooting. Because sometimes, the thing we've been chasing outside of us is already growing, right there, just waiting to be noticed. Part 2. The moment you place an object, the tree begins to listen. There's a moment just before your hand touches the soil, quiet, almost unnoticeable, where something inside you softens. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with a voice from above or a sudden gust of wind, but it's real. And if you listen carefully, not with your ears, but with your awareness, you'll feel it. The space around you shifts. Just slightly. Just enough. That's when the tree starts to listen. Not because it has ears, not because it's magical, but because your energy has become still enough to speak in a language the tree understands. That moment, when you bend down and place something small, meaningful, and intentional beneath a cedar, isn't symbolic. It's the start of a real, quiet exchange between you and the natural world. And if your life has felt too loud, too rushed, too full of trying and not enough grounding, this moment can change everything. We live in a culture that teaches us to speak up, act fast, solve problems, and chase solutions. But not everything broken needs fixing. Some things need presence. Some wounds don't want closure. They want space to breathe. And the simple act of placing an object beneath a tree gives you that space without pressure, without performance. You're not begging. You're not proving anything. You're simply showing up. Think of it like this. Every time we touch the earth with intention, the ground remembers. And the cedar, with its deep roots and steady presence, becomes more than a plant, it becomes a keeper of your message. That's why what you place under the tree matters, but not in the way you might think. Not about expensive crystals or rare objects. It's about what the item means to you. A smooth stone picked up during a walk you took, when you finally felt free again. A coin from a hard year when money was tight, but your heart stayed open. A piece of thread in the color of forgiveness, tied gently around a memory you're finally ready to release. What you place down isn't judged by value. It's felt by vibration. And when your hands open and let that item rest at the base of the cedar, what you're really doing is saying, I'm ready to be still. I'm ready to root this intention. I'm ready to stop carrying it alone. There's something deeply humbling about planting a message you won't dig up to check. It requires trust. Not blind faith, but the kind of trust that grows with age, with having tried enough shortcuts to know that stillness often works better than speed. And the tree receives that trust. It doesn't respond right away. It doesn't grant wishes. It simply holds. Like the best kind of companion, it doesn't interrupt, doesn't advise. It just stands with you. And in a world that asks women to give, explain, justify, and organize every piece of their lives, this kind of wordless companionship can feel like exhaling for the first time in years. I remember one woman who came to me not because she believed in rituals, but because she felt hollow. I've done everything right, she told me. Worked hard, raised my kids, paid off the house. But I still wake up with this ache. Like something inside me never landed. I didn't offer a fix. I simply handed her a smooth river stone and asked her to sit with it by her cedar tree for 10 minutes every morning, not to do anything, just to be there. After 3 weeks, she came back with tears in her eyes, not from sadness, but from a strange, unexpected relief. It's not that life changed, she said, but I feel like I finally touched something real, and it's been waiting for me all this time. That's the kind of shift I'm talking about. Not flashy, not sudden, but deeply, quietly transformative. When you place something under your cedar tree, it's like placing a key into a door you didn't even realize was closed. You're not unlocking a vault of riches or success, you're unlocking flow, ease, softness. And those are the conditions where true abundance begins, not always financial, but emotional, relational, spiritual. The things that actually make a life feel full. So, if you're standing at the base of your tree, coin, thread, stone in hand, and you're wondering what to expect, let me say this: don't expect anything. Just listen. Not to the tree, to the silence. Because in that silence, you'll begin to hear something else, your own energy. Finally still enough to respond. And if you return to that tree day after day, not to ask, but to acknowledge, you'll begin to notice a change that's almost imperceptible from the outside, but unmistakable from within. You'll breathe a little deeper. You'll rush a little less. Your words will carry more presence. Your mornings will feel like rituals instead of routines. And slowly, without needing it to happen, the flow you've been missing will return. This isn't a miracle technique. It's not a secret trick. It's simply nature and your willingness to meet it halfway. So place the object, touch the soil, stand up slowly, and let your energy stay behind, resting in the roots of something older and wiser than all your worry. That's when the listening begins. That's when the shift begins. And that's when you remember what it feels like to be fully, quietly held. Part 3. What should you place beneath the tree? Let's be clear. It's not about what the object is. It's about what it means. When you stand at the base of your cedar tree, holding something small in your hand, the question isn't what will this give me, but what am I truly ready to release or receive? Because what you place beneath the tree isn't a transaction. It's a transmission, a message sent in silence, held by roots, carried by energy. So, the question becomes, what kind of message are you sending if money feels like it slips through your fingers, no matter how hard you work? If you've budgeted, downsized, done the spreadsheets, and still feel like abundance leaks out through unseen cracks, then maybe what you need is not more effort, but a different flow. In that case, place a coin beneath your cedar. Not a shiny new one, not something flashy, but a coin that's lived with you, maybe one that sat in your wallet during a hard season, one that reminds you of resilience. In many cultures, the round coin represents the cycle of heaven, openness, receiving. The square hole in the center symbolizes the grounding of earth, structure, holding. When combined, they become a closed circuit of financial energy, not rushing in and out, but gently circulating, just enough, just right. When you place that coin into the soil, you're not asking to be rich. You're asking to stop leaking. You're planting the intention for steady, healthy exchange. For money to come in with kindness and stay with purpose. But maybe what you long for isn't money. Maybe you've already retired, or you're not chasing more income. You just want to feel safe, rooted, less anxious about what's next. If you've been walking on eggshells in your own mind, fearing the next shift, waiting for the next shoe to drop, place a piece of yellow quartz beneath your cedar. Yellow quartz carries the frequency of warmth, of personal authority, of standing tall without needing applause. It doesn't beg for outcomes. It holds. It says, I am enough, and I will not be shaken. If you're building something slowly, whether that's a second act of life, a small home-based dream, or simply the strength to wake up with peace, this stone is your anchor. Let it rest in the soil like a quiet affirmation. I trust the ground beneath me. And maybe, just maybe, it's not money or strength you need. Maybe what hurts isn't visible. Maybe you're lonely in a house full of people. Maybe your heart still carries the weight of a silence that should have been a conversation. Or maybe, lately, you just don't feel like you. For that ache, the one you can't quite name, use a thread, a simple one, soft, natural. In green if you long for emotional healing. In blue if your voice has been quiet too long. In earthy brown if you're searching for a way back to yourself. Tie it gently around a small stone or the base of a visible root. Don't make it tight. Let it breathe, like you're giving space to something tender. The thread is your bridge between what was and what you're now willing to reclaim. Not for drama, not for closure, just for connection. Quiet, real connection. The beauty of this ritual isn't in its complexity. It's in the clarity of your choice. Each item, coin, crystal, thread, is a different kind of message. You're not placing it to fix life. You're placing it to align with life again. To say this is what I need. This is where I'm ready to meet the flow. And the tree doesn't judge. It doesn't rank one object above another. It simply responds to intention. That's why rushed hands make no sound in the soil, but slow, honest ones echoed. Let me tell you something most people never hear. Energy responds to sincerity more than anything else. You can't fake stillness. You can't speed up presence. But when you place something with your full heart, no performing, no pressure, the entire space around you listens, not in a mystical way, in a natural, biological, electromagnetic way. You calm your nervous system. You quiet your breath. Your heart slows, your awareness softens. And that, in turn, allows your entire energy field to open, like the cedar itself, upright, steady, receptive. So ask yourself, not what object to use, but what truth am I ready to put down? Are you ready to stop proving you're okay and instead allow something or someone to hold you? Are you ready to let go of scarcity and breathe into enoughness? Are you ready to stop spinning and start rooting? Because that's what this part of the ritual really is. Choosing an object means choosing your truth. And planting it beneath the cedar means you're no longer carrying it alone. And here's the final truth: this choice, this small item placed with care, doesn't need to be seen by anyone else. You don't need to post about it, explain it, or even name it out loud. It's yours. A sacred pause in a loud world, a soft gesture in a life that may have been far too hard for far too long. Let the tree hold it now. Let the earth listen. And trust that what's meant to move will move. Not because you pushed harder, but because you finally allowed it to begin. Part 4, when to place the object and how to do it right. There are moments in the day when the world becomes still enough for something deeper to be heard. You've felt them before? Early morning when the light is soft and the world hasn't yet begun to ask anything of you, or late evening when the day folds itself into quiet. These aren't just poetic hours. They're energetic thresholds. Times when your nervous system is softer, your heart less guarded, your awareness more open. That's why when you place your object matters almost as much as what you place. Because you're not just dropping something into the ground, you're aligning with a moment, a natural rhythm, where intention can root deeper, faster, more clearly. So if you can, do this at sunrise or sunset. Not for spiritual showmanship, but because your own body responds to those hours differently. There's less resistance, less noise, more presence. If you want to add a gentle layer of reverence, begin by tending the space around your cedar. You don't need incense unless it feels natural to you. You don't need sacred music or special clothes. You only need stillness, the kind that doesn't rush. Sweep the ground if it feels right. Pour a bit of salt water around the base, not to cleanse in a mystical way, but to mark a beginning. Salt has always symbolized preservation, memory, resilience. Just a little, just enough. Think of it as brushing your teeth before a conversation, not essential, but respectful. It says, I'm showing up clean, with care now, before you touch the soil. Pause. 3 deep breaths. In through the nose, slow, steady. Out through the mouth, even slower. This isn't about oxygen. It's about presence. Because if your mind is racing, the soil can't hold your intention. But if your body is still, your hands quiet, your attention softened, the earth will hear you. No words needed. You don't have to speak your wish. You don't have to visualize hard. In fact, try less. Just feel what you mean. That feeling, the one in your chest that doesn't quite have a name yet, that's what plants best. When you're ready, dig a shallow hole. Not deep, just enough to let the item rest, tucked but not hidden. If it's a coin, lay it flat. If it's a stone, nestle it gently. If it's a thread, tie it softly around a root or a nearby twig. Cover it lightly, not pack down. The earth, like us, needs room to breathe. You can place a few dried leaves or moss on top if you want it to blend in. But what matters most is that you don't rush this moment. Slow hands make honest offerings. Once the item is placed, stand or kneel in front of the tree. No need to bow unless it feels natural. Just close your eyes for a few seconds. Let the image of your intention, not the outcome, but the feeling behind it, rise gently in your mind. Imagine the tree receiving it through its roots, carrying it upward through the trunk, then outward through its branches. Not as a fantasy, but as a kind of energetic transmission. You're not asking the tree to grant your wish. You're asking it to hold your wish, in steadiness, in silence, in deep time. You may not feel anything. That's okay. Energy doesn't always move with fireworks. Sometimes it moves like breath, unnoticed but essential. But what you will feel, if you're honest with yourself, is a softening. Not because something has changed outside you, but because something has relaxed inside you. That release, that moment of letting go, is the shift. After you're done, don't touch your phone right away. Don't rush back to the next task. Give yourself a few minutes to re-enter your day slowly. Sit with a cup of tea. Walk barefoot if you can. Let this act settle into your nervous system as something sacred, not because it was grand, but because it was yours. And here's the final part. You don't need to repeat this every day. Energy doesn't require constant repetition, but relationship does. So check in with your tree, not as a task, but as a ritual. Water it. Touch its bark in the morning. Whisper nothing in particular, just gratitude or quiet. The more you treat this connection as real, the more it becomes real. And over time, you'll notice your decisions feel clearer. Your emotions feel steadier. You'll begin to feel less like you're chasing life and more like you're co-creating with it. Timing and action don't have to be perfect. But presence, that's the non-negotiable. So choose a moment when the world is quiet. Choose an object that holds your truth. Choose stillness over speed. And let this small act become the doorway to a quieter, steadier rhythm. One where energy doesn't just pass through your life, but stays, roots, and grows with you. Part 5. Keeping the energy flowing gently. Like breath, placing the object is not the end. It's the beginning of a conversation, one that unfolds slowly, quietly, like breath. If you walk away from your cedar tree and never return, the energy doesn't punish you. But it does fade. Not out of spite, but because all energy, like any relationship, needs tending. Not intensity, not drama, just presence, just a gentle rhythm. And in this part of your life, maybe you're not looking for big breakthroughs. Maybe you're craving something more sustainable, a kind of peace that stays. That's where the practice begins. Every morning, before the noise of the day builds, step outside. Not for anyone else, just for you. Walk to your tree. You don't need to speak. You don't even need to think. Just place your hand on the trunk. Feel the texture, rough or smooth, cool or warm. That touch alone is enough to reset something inside you. It's not symbolic, it's somatic. It grounds your nervous system, brings your attention back into your body, and reminds you that no matter what waits inside the house, this moment is yours. You've plugged back into something ancient. And the energy you placed there, it's still there, listening. In the evenings, if you can, light a small candle or oil lamp near the tree. You're not illuminating the roots, you're illuminating your presence. That soft flicker in the dark is a simple message: I'm still here. I haven't forgotten. This isn't about superstition, it's about rhythm. Light in the evening balances the quiet of the morning. One gesture to open the day, one to close it. No words required. Just the cycle, inhale, exhale, of energy flowing. And once a week, let the tree and yourself rest. No watering, no cleaning, no action. Let Sunday be your pause. Because even sacred spaces need silence. Energy, like breath, becomes more powerful when given space to expand and contract. On that day, don't bring your plans. Just bring your presence. A cup of tea, a hand on bark, a few minutes of simply being. That is more than enough. Now and then, especially when life feels heavy, go back to the tree not for answers, but for anchoring. Maybe you're tired, scattered, unsure. Stand by the tree. Rest your hand on its trunk. Feel its stillness. That's what it offers you. Not advice, not strategy, stillness. And in that stillness, your own clarity begins to rise. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It just returns. That's how you know the ritual is working. Not when something outside you changes, but when something inside finally quiets down. You don't need to repeat the ritual unless your energy asks for it. And you'll know when it does. Not because life is hard again, but because your inner world is stirring again. Maybe you feel ready to plant a new wish, or maybe the last one has bloomed in its own quiet way. When that time comes, return to the tree. Choose a new object, new truth, and begin again. Not because the first one failed, but because you're growing, And growth always asks for realignment. Energy doesn't respond to performance. It responds to honesty. It doesn't demand perfection. It asks for presence. That's all this is. A living rhythm between you and a tree. A rhythm that mirrors your own breath, your own seasons, your own becoming. When honored, it stays with you, gently holding, gently reminding, gently flowing. So return to the tree. Often, slowly, sincerely, not to chase more energy, but to remember the energy you already planted. And to feel each time how that quiet current is still moving, still nourishing, still listening, like breath. Always there. Always enough. Final maybe now. As you sit with these words, you're starting to feel something shift, not outside you, but within. Not because we talked about a tree, or a coin, or a piece of thread, but because, through all of it, we were really talking about you, your energy, your breath, your unspoken longings, and your quiet, persistent wish for life to feel just a little lighter, a little more grounded, a little more yours. The cedar tree was never the point. Neither was the ritual. What truly matters is the space you created, in your home, in your yard, in your day, to pause, to feel, to listen, and to root an intention not in urgency, but in presence. In a world that rewards speed and noise, you chose stillness. That alone is powerful. When you placed that object under the tree, whether it was a coin from a hard season, a crystal for strength, or a simple thread of reconnection, you did more than symbolically plant a wish. You opened a conversation between yourself and something much larger. The tree may not have spoken back, but it received you, and it will keep holding what you've placed there, quietly, steadily, without judgment. Energy doesn't respond to words. It responds to frequency, to emotion, to memory, to honesty. And when we match our outer action to our inner truth, something real happens. Not dramatic, but that's how flow begins. That's how life shifts, gently, like breath. So if you've been quietly tired of doing everything right and still feeling off-center, I want you to hear this. It's not too late. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to be someone new. You just need to come back to the still, grounded version of yourself, the one that's been buried under roles, routines, and expectations for far too long. And maybe, just maybe, this ritual, this tree, is your way back. Thank you truly for staying here with me, with this story, with yourself. It takes courage to listen past the noise, to give attention to something as quiet as energy. I hope you walk away not just with information, but with invitation to reconnect, to recenter, to live more gently and more deeply. Wherever you are, whatever you're carrying, I wish you ease. I wish you clarity. I wish you a steady, unshakable kind of peace, the kind that doesn't need to shout to be felt. May your breath be calm. May your home feel light, and may the roots you plant, today, tomorrow, and onward, hold you exactly as you are. Until next time, take care of your space and let it take care of you.